Hey there guys, I'm back to another game review. Today I want to talk about Life is Strange 2, the sequel to the successful graphic adventure game from 2015 by DONTNOD Entertainment. Originally, I was going to talk about this game briefly in my end of the year gaming video for 2019, but I realized as I was writing about Life is Strange 2, I had a ton to say about the game. You see, I played the first Life is Strange game in summer of 2017, 2 years after the game finished its run. I fell in love with Life is Strange 1, the characters, the world of Arcadia Bay, and the gameplay. The ability to rewind time and see both sides of most choices is pretty neat. Before the Storm was a neat prequel as well, but suffered from being a prequel. Captain Spirit is a nice holdover until the full release of Life is Strange 2. Leading up to the release of Life is Strange 2, it was taking a very different approach, moving away from the previous characters and introducing new ones in Sean and Daniel Diaz, Latino-American brothers living in Seattle with their father. It was a logical move to switch to new characters to make the game new and interesting. Throughout these 5 episodes, you follow the two brothers on their journey to Mexico. The first episode was honestly a pretty strong start. It had the Life is Strange vibe and did a good introduction to the Diaz brothers and their objective for the whole season. There were definitely a lot more politics sprinkled throughout this episode and the season in general. The second episode was okay, but did show signs of repetition that could be a problem, and we're only in 2 out of 5 of the episodes. Also, Captain Spirit makes an appearance in episode 2, but he plays such a minor role, you don't really have to play the standalone Captain Spirit game to get the full picture. It honestly feels like a loss of potential, but I guess there was only so much they could cram into one single episode. Episode 3 does something a little interesting where they time jump to the future, which makes things a little bit more fun for the player to sort of rediscover what's going on in the game. They did a good job of setting up this new environment for the Diaz brothers and the side characters surrounding them, but the episode sadly ends with them ditching the place to continue their journey to Mexico. The 4th and 5th episodes also do time jumps to keep things moving and somewhat interesting for the player. The problem with Life is Strange 2's plot is the constantly moving environment. Because the Diaz brothers need to get to Mexico from Seattle, they are constantly moving and never have a real chance to soak in their surroundings. Arcadia Bay was a living, breathing character in the first Life is Strange. Also, it doesn't help that the Diaz brothers aren't that strong of characters and they don't feel like much of brothers, to be honest. Max and Chloe had such a stronger connection in my opinion, and they're such an iconic duo, and they're still the face of the Life is Strange franchise even after the second game is finished. In addition, the story suffers from predictability from the direction to begin with. The brothers are on the move, settle in a spot for a good portion of the episode, then move again. Even the time skips get a bit old and adds to the predictability aspect. The gaps between episode releases also did get a bit long. Having to wait about 4 months for another episode to drop did get tiring. I forgot the Diaz brothers' names at the start of episode 3, I think, when I initially started it. While Life is Strange 1's story relied on mental health, politics take the forefront in Life is Strange 2. DONTNOD Entertainment actually did a good job portraying racism and bigotry in America today. Some say it's a little extreme, but I think it's just right. Overall, Life is Strange 2's story just didn't hit the mark for me. The Diaz brothers constantly being on the move made it hard to form a real connection with them. The predictability of the story moving forward, I was just never sold on this game's plot. The premise and ideas were good, it was just sloppily executed. Gameplay-wise, it's very similar to Life is Strange 1, but with no rewind power. The in-game engine is slightly improved. You got a preview of this in the Captain Spirit standalone game, but it's still through and through an interactive graphic adventure game. Since there is no rewind power, you'll instead be guiding Daniel with his telekinetic abilities, and this is where the game struggles as well. You'll be playing as Sean throughout all 5 episodes, and it's up to you, the player, how you want to teach Daniel in using his powers. It's just nowhere close to as interesting as rewinding time to see the other outcome of a given situation. The telekinetic powers are just super basic from a gameplay perspective. Even if this power was given to Sean or you got to control Daniel in certain aspects of the game, this wouldn't fix the gameplay all that much in my opinion. Again, the rewind mechanic from Life is Strange 1 just made the gameplay so much more dynamic and interesting. The telekinetic powers don't do much from a gameplay perspective, and I think DONTNOD knew this going in. They probably thought the brotherly connection would carry this game through, and guiding a younger sibling and using his powers would be an interesting dynamic, but I'm sorry, it's not. It's super hard for me to not compare this game to its predecessor because this is a sequel after all. They make a lot of hints to the first Life is Strange and exactly what certain events and certain characters may pop up here and there. The gameplay sadly falls flat and doesn't do much to stand out from the rest of the games in this genre. I will say one positive aspect is the fact that your choices do contribute to one of the 7 endings, which is a lot better than the 2 endings we got in Life is Strange 1. But yeah, the gameplay is meh. In conclusion, Life is Strange 2 unfortunately failed to meet my expectations for a Life is Strange sequel. The story doesn't hit the same marks due to the constant change in location and the Diaz brothers not being as compelling compared to Max and Chloe. The long gaps between episodes didn't help this game's story either. The gameplay is like most other graphic adventure games since the power is on Daniel, the non-playable character, and the power itself doesn't change up the gameplay all that much compared to rewinding time. The only real positive I can say about Life is Strange 2 is the upgrade in the presentation department. The voices are properly synced this time around, and the game is still fairly nice to look at. Life is Strange 2 failed to meet my own expectations, but it's still a good game. The game functions and all, but it doesn't really hit the same notes compared to its predecessor in my opinion. The story is coherent and somewhat easy to follow, the gameplay works all things considered, and the presentation isn't too shabby either. If you're like me, and you want more of Max and Chloe, check out the Life is Strange comic by Titan Comics. The first arc of the comic is about the ending where Max sacrifices Arcadia Bay to save Chloe. It's a little story to show what would have happened if the game kept going in that direction. It's a very good story and really faithful to the Life is Strange world and its characters. So yeah, that is all I have for today. Thank you guys for watching this video. If you guys haven't already, you can subscribe. I put new videos up on Saturdays. Follow my social media accounts for updates on my future videos, Facebook and Twitter. And you can also check out my podcast at anchor.fm/TravisDamian Podcast. We talk about everything within the gaming industry and all that stuff. So if you guys want to check us out on there, you can. It's also available on this very YouTube channel. But yeah, that is all I have for today. Thank you guys for watching this video once again. I'll see you guys next time with more videos. Game on, gamers.